Hello, I'm recording this demonstration video of RT Global Illumination in Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin because there has been some recent discussion about cut content in Dark Souls 2 and specifically the lighting features that were cut from the game due to deciding to make it a cross-platform game between the PS3 and PS4 generation. And this was something people made a big stink about in the past, and I guess there's still some bad blood about it. It sort of helps to contribute to the bad reputation of Dark Souls 2. And as a person who doesn't love this game, thinks it's pretty okay, but very strong in some areas and quite weak in others. I'm not a huge defender of Dark Souls 2, but at the same time, I think it's a little ridiculous to lose your shit over the lack of lighting in a game. In the way that people did over Watch Dogs. I understand you may overinvest in hardware, you may buy into the hype from marketing too much. We just had the 3000 series of video cards launch, so plenty of hype there, and no doubt people are going to get overhyped about Cyberpunk, and they're going to lose their shit over that. But when it comes to Dark Souls 2, I do think there's some value in actually looking at what a more sophisticated lighting engine would provide. So of course we can't really implement the lighting that the developers originally intended for this game, but we can implement better lighting through ray tracing. So this is going to be ray tracing with post-processing, with reshade. It does have some issues. I have to keep the character shadows on because it can't really faithfully reproduce character shadows. There's just some weirdness with that. But it does function a lot better in this game than it did in Dark Souls 1. So I think there's some value at taking a look at it, and I do think it makes the game look considerably better. So this will be a look at what better lighting could have done for the game, even if I don't think that's the be-all and end-all of what makes a game good. So right now we have Raytraced Global Illumination off, and I believe we also have Screen Space Ambient Occlusion off. Yes, so here is the game with SSAO on. So it's a kind of rudimentary way of creating those sort of shadows you see in the corner, like behind those pillars in the distance, with the light hitting them on one side and then the shadows being cast by the pillars on the other. It helps to add some depth to the scene, which is something that I think the lighting in Dark Souls 2 typically fails to convey. So let's turn off SSAO and see what that looks like. And you can see there's some baked lighting on the pillars, maybe, or an occlusion map. But definitely some of the definition to the screen space ambient occlusion is lost when you turn off that feature. Now let's take a quick look at what happens when we turn on Raytraced Global Illumination. Now you can see the ambient occlusion effect on those pillars has returned, but furthermore, you can see that that staircase is now casting a shadow across the bottom half of the building, which did not exist when the SSAO was on. So why is that the case? Well, it's because in this game, unlike in Dark Souls 1, the sun actually casts light. We saw the weird fakery. If you look at my other video about ray tracing in Dark Souls 1, you saw all the weird fakery that the artists were using with the global lights in that game. And here they're doing a lot less fakery. So the sun is actually casting light from here, and the ray tracing is tracing the rays and casting that shadow against the building. The reason I believe why this is added here and it's not added in SSAO is because the sun is not in screen space when we look at this. Like, it's not on the screen. That light source is not on the screen. So screen space ambient occlusion is not producing the accurate ambient occlusion that should be cast by the sun. So let's look at some of the other stuff that's going on here. You can see really nice shadows being cast across this architecture. And of course, this is one of the most beautiful areas in Dark Souls 2. So we should spend some time looking at some of the other changes that are made by having better lighting. So you can see it's not just that the ambient occlusion is there, it's also the diffuse lighting and the lighting, the light bouncing off of one surface onto another. So we see that in the center of the screen, the light that is cast off the floor up onto that wall is actually colored that same kind of sunset hue, that warm sunset hue that we get from the sun as a light source in this level. And if we just have SSAO on, that's not going to happen, I think. So let's try turning on SSAO and turning off RT again, and let's see what happens. So we'll turn on SSAO, and we'll turn off RT. And yeah, you can see the light immediately gets a cooler tint to it because the bounce lighting is not coming from the sun, it's just coming off of the tiles, which are, blue. Yeah, so we can see from that there's some real interesting stuff going on with the lighting here. So I'm going to turn off FSAO again, and let's just have a little walk around. Let's see what's what. One thing to note here is that the fire is really casting proper light in this game, unlike in Dark Souls 1, where there was all kinds of weirdness with the lighting. And you can see if we look over into the tower itself, those light sources from the torches cast really nice kind of bloom effects, but I don't have bloom turned on. That is just blooming from the torches that is being cast by the rays. So really nice stuff there. Overall, I think this game looks much better this way. You can see if you look at the statues, the texture quality is still quite low. I don't have any texture packs added, but at a distance, they do look really cool. Like, that looks fantastic. I believe that the cathedral in the distance there is like part of the skybox or something like that at this distance. It's not actually affected by the global illumination. I tested that before. And you can see the blooming out of the tower flame against the the night sky with that depth of field, the depth of field effect applied to it, which is quite nice as well. And the depth of field effect is included in Scholar by out of the box. I haven't added any other post-processing effects to the game other than RT. Now let's see. So you can see here that the shadows are... I actually have the... I have shadows turned on, the in-game shadows, because the ray-traced shadows for characters just look a little strange. They don't have enough definition in harsh lighting. The ray tracing isn't quite working for characters at the same level of quality as it would for the for buildings and architecture. Interestingly, if you come into an area like this, the frame rate drops. So we're running at about 55 frames per second right now at 1440p, just because of the torches casting so much light and then the light bouncing all around this corridor. I could get it to run at 60 in there by lowering the number of rays, but it's not really a major concern. So we're just going to go up to Majula and then head back to the starting area to look at an area that is much darker and has much cooler light than here. Now, one area I really would like to take a look at, but unfortunately I just started the save because I haven't played Scholar in years, is... what about this? You're not a mimic. Hey. Is... What's it now? Something Wharf. The one with the big lamp in it. Yeah, I think that would look amazing with RT on, but unfortunately, I haven't cleared anything in the game yet. Alright, so here we go. That's nice there, right? This light being cast through the window by this torch. Pretty cool. Okay, so here's Majula. And as I was saying before, these long shadows that are cast by the setting sun, which are so much a part of the look and the aesthetic of Majula, is like, you know, this really beautiful area, one of the standout ones in the game, are actually not being created by the RT effect, by the global illumination. That's just the in-game normal shadows, the faked ones, but you know, they still look really good even if they're fake. So if we look at, let's do a comparison again. Let's get a nice vista view of this area, and then we'll go ahead and see what it looks like with RT off. So, drastic difference in the lighting, right? The light source itself is like really different. So it looks like there's some kind of baked lighting on all of these rocks here. That really like harsh, bright light of being in direct sunlight. All of that is actually baked onto the rocks because the sun is not in screen space here. Right, the sun is right over there. So if you're facing this direction, it wouldn't cast any kind of shadows or particular lighting naturally. So if you turn on RT, the actual sunlight is added to that, and I think it looks pretty fantastic. You see the warmth again, that color of the setting sun is added. And the bounce lighting is noticeable as well against the rocks. Now, if we go back to the buildings, the effect is less noticeable. There doesn't seem to be any immediate effect on the building, but let's see what happens if we get closer to the building. Does it change at all? As like a higher definition model gets loaded in. We do start to see the bounce lighting on the underside of this roof. But overall, the difference is not that great. They did a really good job of faking the light in this area. Yeah, these shadows are just so much richer and yeah, I don't know how else to describe them. They really are just much richer with RT on. It's not that they aren't present otherwise, but is our friend?
Oh, undead, are we? And one without much time remaining. Just about ready. Not exact. Well, oh yes. So, ooh. Nothing suited you, I presume?
Right.
Well, that's dismaying.
Yeah. It just looks so much better. I don't know what to say about it other than that. Like, wow, that under lighting on the roof is really nice, and then on the table as well. Yeah. Okay, but that's probably enough of Majula. What does this look like down here? Looks like they probably added some light sources to this to the walls here to make it easier to do these jumps, because I think with natural lighting that would actually get pretty dark down there. All right, so let's head over to the starting area and take a look at some darker places, and then we'll wrap this video. This is going to the ruins, I think. Hey, Drew. Quit loading. My computer's faster than that. Light being cast from here. Interestingly, the RT is creating a really bad-looking effect here, where the simplicity of the geometry is being revealed by the lighting in a way that it wouldn't be normally. So that actually is producing a degradation in the quality of the image. So I went the wrong way, but this is still interesting. these ogres and stuff. So I'm not seeing a very pronounced effect. It's interesting to see the light against the back of the character's head here. And let's turn off RT. But yeah, it's actually more significant than you might initially think. It is much flatter, and if there's anything I would say about the lighting in Dark Souls 2 out of the box, or even with max settings, is that the lighting is very flat, and that doesn't flatter the quality of the assets that are in the game. I think one reason... I think it adds to that sense of the game being very contrived. Like, these levels are just levels, video game levels to play through. And they don't really have much of a sense of space and presence, with the exception of some really great ones, like, obviously, Majula, Hyde's Tower Flame, you know, Huntsman's Copse, Dragonary, that kind of stuff. Looks, you know, Drang Lake Castle. These areas look amazing, but there's a lot of stinkers in with the really great ones. And yeah, I just think having a lighting model with a greater sense of depth and richness would help add to the presence of the game. And, you know, maybe sometime in the future we'll get a remake of Dark Souls 2 that actually has ray tracing baked in, or has a better lighting model in general baked in. Because the assets themselves are often low res, but that can be remedied these days with AI upscaling without too much trouble. So I do think we could see a version of this game that looks much better in the future. And again, none of this is to comment on the sort of production decisions that were made. I just think this game had a very troubled development, and a lot of sort of directives coming down from management that frustrated the efforts of a lot of talented people who worked on it, because there's a lot of wonderful mechanical innovation here. There are a lot of great areas. It's just, in my opinion, it just doesn't come together very well, and I don't like the game that much as a whole. But I do respect what is there, and especially the excellent parts of it. So this has been a look at ray tracing in Dark Souls 2: Scholar of the First Sin. I would have liked to show you more areas, but again, just starting out the game. So hopefully this will help to contribute to the discussion over the cut content. Again, this is not representative of what would have been. I think there is like a mod in progress to actually do that, to try to go as close as possible to the concept art that we saw earlier before the game's release. And that looks really exciting and really cool. But this is what a better lighting model in general might look like. So thanks for watching.